Hey folks, welcome back to the channel, your home for all content Lord of the Rings home. Got a late night video for you. We're going to be talking about bugs, a few different issues surrounding that. We're going to be talking about Elladan, his skill priority, and how prepared you should be for his event. How prepared I am, I'm going to be trying to speed run, getting him to max as soon as I can on day one, and whether I'm ready for that. But if you're ready, let's get into it. First thing I want to talk about is this note here from CG Heem. Basically, there are two bugs that got introduced into this last patch that they're aware of, and they're making sure that they are addressing those with a priority so that they can get a fix out as soon as possible. Those bugs are, I'm sure you've come across them so far, is when you try and do an auto win, either on a hard battle or on challenges, it autos to 20 or more. Not more, but it can auto up to 20, and then when you click it, it gives you an error. So to get around that, what you have to do is basically for the challenges, you have to set it to 3, although setting it to 1 seems to work the best. And then for the hard nodes, yeah, you want to be able to set it to 5 or whatever your energy will allow if it's less than 5. And the other thing is that buying character XP from the supplies store right now soft blocks you. So they don't advise that you buy character XP, and to get out of that state, you want to force close your game and then restart it. Like I mentioned, they're prioritizing fixing these issues, which is actually very good to see because especially the node attempts being wrong for the hard battles and the challenges is pretty annoying just on the user end, but it looks like that they're prioritizing these. There are 3 bugs that I can think of off the top of my head that weren't addressed in the last patch, and I'm very keen on having them fixed. First one is Elrahir, currently on his special 2. It only counts some boons before he can go into stealth. We learned in the last update with more clarification from CG Heem that basically any green icon above your character's head should count as a boon, including those stackable ones like Provoke, Nimble, Counterattack, all that sort of stuff. But that's not triggering Elrahir going into stealth at the moment, so that's currently a bug. Another one is not being able to use the Sam you unlock for the next level of Sam's journey. So you should be able to use Sam at 3 stars with your other characters at 4 stars to then do those nodes. I'm pretty sure that's the case. That still has yet to be fixed. And the third one is Shagrat's lead doesn't seem to be working entirely correctly. There appears to be some issues with the turn meter gain there. And it's kind of, I would say, making the Mordor team not what it's supposed to be at the moment. Those are 3 bug fixes that I'm most keen on having fixed, especially the Elrahir one, right? Now that we've got this elf squad that's basically coming out very soon. Having that fixed I think is a big priority. But it's good to see that these annoying things that got introduced in the last patch they are aware of beforehand, and that they're trying to fix those as quickly as possible. So I'm pretty happy with that. But something else happened today, which was this offer popped up for some people, not everybody, and essentially this offer went out to a number of people, more than they intended to. So I got this offer, I took a screenshot right away. It says, for new ring bearers only. I am not a new ring bearer on that account, right? I'm level 54 on that account, so I don't think this offer was intended for me. So something happened where the offer got sent out to a lot of people who did not meet some requirements that they wanted. This is a terrific deal, right? 300 character shards and 20K for $10. I think that's a really great deal. A lot of people were upset because not everybody got the offer. And what ended up happening was that they just pulled the offer entirely. So even if you did get it, if you didn't buy it within a number of hours, they pulled it from the store, so you couldn't buy it anymore. Here's kind of where I come down on this. The explanation was essentially, this offer pops up when based on data that it draws from the player's level and progress and whatnot. And what was not clear to me was whether this is an offer that pops up when you get to a certain point in the game and you can unlock it, and then everybody can unlock it once they get to that point, or if this is some sort of A/B testing. And for those of you who don't know, A/B testing is a practice that happens in some of these mobile games sometimes, where essentially different offers are given to different people, and they're basically determining what offers certain demographics of people are more willing to buy. And then that way they can sort of optimize what offers they send out to people. I'm not a big fan of A/B testing in these types of competitive games. They build the games to be competitive. Currently, the only way to get premium currency in this game is through Arena. That's a competitive game mode, right? If you are giving offers to different people and they either have different character shards, they cost different things, or they have different amounts of resources, then I think that that can give an unfair advantage to certain people in the competitive game modes. Obviously, they have to be spenders, but I think that that's the case. So that's where I come down on it. I'm okay with this. You know, sometimes this stuff happens where it's a bug release and things are unintended and they slip through the cracks. And if everybody can have access to this offer by just meeting some sort of requirements, that's terrific. But I am not a fan of A/B testing. And I know when I was playing Marvel Strike Force a number of years ago, A/B testing was pretty rampant, and I didn't like it then, and I still don't like it now. But moving on, let's talk about something else. Okay, before I get into Elladan, there's one other thing I want to address, which is it seemed to me that lots of people knew that the elves were going to be the requirement for Elrond, okay? And that was only recently confirmed officially, but people seemed to be aware before that through the data mines that elves were going to be required for Elrond, but they were not or did not know or were not sure that he was going to require five-star elves. So they knew that elves were going to be a requirement, but not the 5 stars. And I'm just kind of wondering if you were in that boat, what happened? So I think because of the blog post when it came out, it was a little bit confusing. I think that could have played a role, and some people read the blog post and go, oh, wait, it's actually a 3-star unlock for Elrond. And that confused people. I think that's one possible avenue here. But even outside of that, I think there was sort of this notion that people were going to be able to unlock Elrond free to play. And I'm just wondering, so that, you know, we can do a better job in the future here of communicating this, where that breakdown in communication was. So if you fall into that boat, I'm seriously asking, just leave a comment down below as to what kind of your situation was, what your thinking was. And I just would really like to know. Okay, let's get into the meat and potatoes of Elladan. We're going to take a look at his skills and do a skill priority. I'm not going to do a tier list sheet thing. We're just going to go on LOTR.gg. Shout out to those guys. Those guys, by the way, they spent a lot of time getting this information to us, and I really appreciate being able to look at it beforehand, before the event goes live. All right, let's go into his basic. At max, attack the target for 190% damage and inflict weaken for 1 turn. Of course, weaken is what the priority is here. And it seems like level 4 is where you want to get the skill to, at the very least, right? You always want to be inflicting weaken. This is going to be especially important when Elrond is able to put counterattacks on people, right? If Elladan has counterattacks, he's going to be inflicting a lot of different weakens to the enemy team, and I think that's going to be important because the elf squad looks maybe a little squishy here. All right, that's not too bad. Level 4 skills, pretty good. Arwen was basically level 4 across the board, level 5 on some skills. All right, special 1. At max, gain 3 stacks of provoke, 1 stack of regeneration for 2 turns, grant deadly for 1 turn to self and 2 random allies. This is basically his way of adding buffs to the elf team. It's also his way of tanking and giving himself a little bit of passive healing. So, looking at this, you're basically going to get all of the tanking capabilities after skill 3, right? So you're going to get your max stacks to provoke after you upgrade to skill 3. You're going to get your regeneration. I think this going up to 4 and 5 is going to be good, but not necessary. I think currently there's going to be a decent amount of boons going around the team that you're not going to be relying just on Elladan's boons to kind of keep things going, right? So you're probably good at doing 3, but obviously the more resources you dump into the skill, the better, because just the more boons you have on the elf team, the better. Special 2, at max, attack all enemies for 220% damage and gain 1 stamina for this ability per boon on self. This is the big, you can reset the cooldown on this pretty easily if you've got all of the boons going around on this team. So this is really good. It's important to note that this starts on a 1-turn cooldown, right? So this special one doesn't, so you can do your special one first, and then you can do your special 2 here. Here is the catch, I think, for Elladan, is that you only get this reset of gain 1 stamina per boon on self at level 6. This is his big AoE. I think you want to be using this as much as possible, and you have to max it all the way to be able to get those benefits. Definitely you want to get level 4 because then you get that extra stack of provoke, and you want the enemy team to be focusing just on your Elladan. That way your Elrahir can continue to trigger counterattacks. It's important to note that Elrahir also doesn't counterattack all the time until you get his passive to level 6. All right. Shield of Rivendell. This is, I think, what they've nerfed the most. I would say this has a big... I mean, they did a bunch of damage stuff. They reduced a bunch of damage numbers across the board and healing numbers across the board for him and Elrond, for Elladan and Elrond, but this passive, I think, is actually a pretty decent nerf to Elladan. It used to be 100% chance to gain a stack of Nibble. Now it's 70% chance at max, plus 10% resistance. The way that Elrond's kit works, you want to be able to extend those boons, but that only happens if you don't have any Banes. So this resistance is going to be important, as well as the fortitude that Elrond has. And by the way, I'm going to do another short video sometime later this week that does a skill priority for Elrond as well. We'll go through that and see what he needs. Okay. For his passive, I think you have to get it to at least level 4. Just to get, what is that? So you start off with 40% chance. After level 4, you're going to have a 60% chance, so above 50% chance for Nimble. I'm actually going to say you probably want level 5. I think you do need that extra 10% resistance. I know a lot of people are thinking, oh, the Haradrim are going to be hard countering to the elves. Or, Brute's going to destroy the elf team. If those teams can't land any of their Banes, then it doesn't matter, right? So I think if you build up your Elladan so that he can do a good amount of resistance, then this is going to make your elf team a lot stronger. One thing I also want to talk about is that we have some of the stats. For Elladan, he's got decent health. Halbarad is the most health in the game, and he's about 33k, I believe. So we can go here. They're not in this list, but we can compare them. So Elladan is 25k. So he sits actually kind of around a bunch of other tanks. He's got a typical tank HP. He's got pretty decent armor. 1390 is pretty decent. Again, sitting right around other tanks. A little bit less than other tanks, including Leliel here. Resistance, 1590. Let's look at that. So in the Lord of the Rings home, the people that have the highest resistance are actually the support characters. So Eowyn has high resistance. Arwen has insanely high resistance, right? But what does Elladan have? 1590. Oh, so he's going to have the most resistance in the game, right? Yeah, so he's got insane resistance. Okay. I think when you put this extra 10% resistance on there, plus fortitude on him, he's gonna resist almost all of the Banes. I think that's really good. Yeah, that's actually really positive. I've been feeling a little bit bad about Elladan. I haven't been feeling as great as I did, but that's actually, I didn't realize that. His resistance is through the roof. He's got a speed of 153, which I think importantly puts him right before Elrond. Elrond's going to be the slowest on the Rivendell team. I believe it goes Elrahir, Lomian, Arwen, then Elladan, and then Elrond as sort of your turn order. That's it for the skill priority. It looks like you're probably going to need to do at least skill 4 across the board. Maybe not for this special one, but I would do it at least to skill 4 here just to get that extra buff on there. And then for his special 2, I think you're going to need to max it. And for his passive, I think you're going to need to hit 5. So he actually, I think, takes more investment than Arwen does. We'll see how he does stat-wise and kit-wise in-game. He's definitely not as OP as I originally thought. Okay, where am I at? I know everybody loves looking at spreadsheets. Basically, I have all of the gear to get him to G8. So I'm going to be doing that. I'm going to be live streaming the unlock event, and then I'm going to speed run him to max. What I don't know is if I have the ability mats to get him, and honestly the account level, to get him to level 6 in some places, especially that special 2. But I have a good amount of ability mats to at least get to level 5 across the board. Oh man, but 5 to 6 for the purple mats is crazy. Speaking of which, the new guild campaign, Chapter 5, I can't say for certain, but it feels like you get so many more purple mats. That's a really welcome change. I was so surprised. I did a full like 20 pull on Chapter 5.1, and I got like something like 46 purple mats, which is crazy. Okay. Basically, I think I'm there gear-wise. Don't know if I'm there skill-wise, and I think I'm lacking a bit of gold. So I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to do about that. But I am stockpiling these crystals. I have 386 light crystals. You only need 204 to get Elladan up to G8. And that's kind of where I'm at. I'm also hoping that my chest luck will be better tomorrow because last time it took like 8 chests for Arwen, and it was so sad and pitiful. But that's it for now. Thanks for watching.